Welcome back to the deep dive. Here we dig through articles, research, expert notes, all that stuff to really bring you the key insights. Today, we're looking past that romantic image of the open road because there's kind of a silent crisis happening. Truck drivers, their rates of musculoskeletal injuries are way, way higher than the national average. It often pushes them out of their careers early. Our sources show this is a huge challenge, for the whole supply chain. So our mission today, we're exploring how some really cutting-edge tech stuff that honestly sounds like it's from a sci-fi movie is starting to revolutionize this really demanding job. We want to unpack how this tech isn't about replacing drivers. Not at all. It's about empowering them, making their jobs safer, healthier, more sustainable. We'll be digging into exoskeletons, revolutionizing trucking for driver health. It's a source that really highlights this interesting human-machine partnership. So, okay, let's get into it. How something that sounds a bit like Iron Man gear is actually out there on our highways making a real difference.
It really is a fascinating development, and it tackles a problem that's been around for a long time in trucking, but maybe doesn't always get the attention it deserves. The physical toll on drivers is just immense. And like you said, it's not just the long hours driving. That's a big misconception.
Yeah, that's a really important point. We all picture the driving, right? But maybe we don't think about the sheer physical effort required when the truck actually stops. Could you maybe walk us through some of those tasks, the ones outside the cab that really wear drivers down?
Absolutely. Yeah, the job's physical side goes way beyond the wheel. Drivers are constantly doing these really demanding tasks, repetitive movements, forceful actions, often in awkward positions. Think about loading and unloading. Heavy boxes, maybe spare tires, different kinds of freight. It's not just lifting one thing. It's often hours of bending, twisting, lifting, nonstop. Then there's, cranking the dolly wheels, raising and lowering the trailers. That takes serious upper body strength, and it's the same strenuous motion over and over. Huge strain on shoulders, the back, and hooking and unhooking the trailers themselves. Lots of bending, twisting again, pulling on these heavy cables. Even just sitting for those long hours, believe it or not, puts a massive cumulative strain on the back and spine. It seems passive, but it really adds up. And the results of all this, well, they're pretty severe, and we see it in the data. Really high rates of chronic back injuries, shoulder pain, knee problems are incredibly common among drivers. These aren't just aches and pains, They're often the number one reason drivers have to take significant time off work or, sadly, retire early from a career they might otherwise love. So, connecting this to the bigger picture, it's not just about one person's pain. It hits the whole supply chain, affects the lives of these dedicated professionals, leads to driver shortages, higher costs for companies. It's a major issue.
Right. So what we're saying is we've got a serious problem here that needs a serious solution. It's not just about making a tough job, a tiny bit easier. It's about making it survivable long term, keeping experienced drivers on the road, making sure our logistics system actually works. The way things are now, it's just not sustainable for the human body. And this is where it gets really interesting. The solution sounds, well, like something from a comic book, Exoskeletons. But it's not about creating Captain America, right? It's about practical, wearable help. It's actually quite amazing that this tech is becoming, well, normal in some workplaces.
Exactly. And to put it simply, an exoskeleton is basically a wearable frame. It's designed to work with your body. You could picture it like a lightweight backpack, maybe with some arm supports, or perhaps a vest that connects to leg braces. The key thing is, it's not clunky or restrictive. It's designed to move with the driver. These systems work with your natural movements. They might use clever springs, or sometimes small motors or sensors that detect what you're trying to do. They give you this sort of gentle boost, taking some of that heavy load off your muscles, off your joints. But the main goal, and this is crucial, isn't to give drivers super strength or replace their effort entirely. No. It's about making those really strenuous tasks less tiring and reducing the risk of getting sore or injured. The driver is always in control. Always. But with less physical strain, it's really just advanced assistive tech when you boil it down.
That makes a lot more sense. It's not automation, it's augmentation, making the hard work safer, more sustainable. And what our sources really stress is that these aren't just like one-size-fits-all suits. They're very specific tools for specific challenges drivers face.
Precisely. The source material breaks down 3 main types that are actually being used right now out in the field. Each one tackles a different physical stress point in trucking. So first, there's something called the chairless chair. Sounds a bit odd, maybe.
A little bit, yeah.
But it's clever. It straps onto the driver's hips and legs. And the really cool part is it can lock in place. So a driver can essentially sit in midair while they're squatting down, maybe hooking up a trailer. Imagine the pressure that takes off your knees and thighs in those low positions. It's huge. We heard from one driver who said after using it, he felt like he got his knees back. That kind of immediate impact is pretty powerful.
Wow, yeah, I can see how that would make a massive difference.
Then there's the lift assist arm. This is more of an upper body frame. It gives support to the arms and back when lifting heavy stuff or doing that repetitive dolly cranking we talked about. Our source gives a great example. It can make a 50-pound box feel like it only weighs 20 pounds.
Okay, that's significant.
Right. You can immediately see how that saves your back and shoulders over a whole shift, let alone years. It cuts down on that strain that leads to chronic pain. And the third type is the posture support vest. This one uses carefully calibrated springs. What it does is gently guide the driver's body back into a safer, more upright position if they start bending or twisting in an awkward way while handling freight. It helps prevent those exact movements that often cause injuries, especially in tight spaces. So yeah, 3 really targeted solutions.
It's really compelling. You can see exactly how each one addresses a specific pain point for drivers. This isn't just theory, is it? It's actually working out there.
Oh, absolutely. We're way past the drawing board stage. The source talks quite a bit about pilot programs, especially with LTL carriers.
LTL listener trust.
Exactly. Those are the companies handling smaller, more varied shipments. Their drivers often do a lot more frequent hands-on loading and unloading compared to, say, long-haul drivers carrying one big load. So a perfect testing ground. And these LTL carriers have been trying out exoskeletons in their day-to-day operations. The results, pretty impressive. Really clear benefits showing up. For starters, a big drop in injuries. Companies are seeing fewer back injuries, fewer shoulder problems, less muscle strain overall. That means healthier drivers, which is the main thing, but also fewer workers' comp claims for the companies. So it's a win-win.
That alone sounds worth it.
Definitely. And another major finding is less fatigue. Drivers report finishing their shifts with much more energy. The exoskeleton takes on some of that physical burden, and that impacts their whole quality of life, not just at work. Plus, you see higher job satisfaction. I mean, if you're not aching all the time or completely exhausted, you're going to feel better about your job, right? Drivers really appreciate that their companies are investing in their health, their long-term well-being. It boosts morale, builds loyalty, and helps keep experienced people in the job, which is huge in an industry with high turnover.
And I imagine less fatigue probably helps with productivity too.
It does. That's another benefit they're seeing. Drivers can keep a steadier pace, maybe take fewer unplanned breaks just because they're worn out. That helps speed up loading and unloading, which is critical. The numbers are quite striking. One LTL company specifically mentioned seeing over a 30% reduction in injuries among the drivers using the exoskeletons. And just as important, the feedback from the drivers themselves was overwhelmingly positive. And get this, they volunteered to wear them. They weren't forced. They wanted to. Wow.
Yeah. It really makes you think, what happens when workers actively want to use technology that's designed to help them? It suggests a real shift in how we can integrate tech in human work.
That's a really powerful point. It shows this isn't just some top-down mandate nobody likes. It's something drivers see real value in for themselves. It makes their daily lives better. But, with any new tech like this, especially something you wear, there must be some practical hurdles, right? Like, what about the cost? Or just getting drivers comfortable wearing these things day in, day out, integrating them smoothly?
That's a very fair question. Yes, the benefits are clear, but getting them everywhere isn't without challenges. Cost is definitely one. These are advanced pieces of tech, right? So the initial investment for a whole fleet can look pretty big on paper. But what companies are doing is looking closely at the return on investment. When you factor in fewer injuries, lower insurance claims, better driver retention, the numbers often start to make a lot of sense over time. Many start small, with pilot programs, to prove the value first. Okay, that makes sense. Prove it works, then scale up.
Exactly. And driver comfort and acceptance, that's huge. You can't just throw a device at someone and expect them to love it immediately. There might be some skepticism. So, smart companies involve drivers right from the start. Getting feedback on fit, how easy it is to use, does it feel okay during different tasks? Then they make adjustments. Training is key too. Not just here's how you put it on, but proper use, maintenance, understanding how it helps. The aim is to make it feel natural, like part of their gear, not some awkward burden.
Right, so it becomes just another tool, like gloves or safety boots.
Pretty much. And then there's integrating it into the workflow. They need to be tough enough for the job, easy to get on and off quickly, and not get in the way of other things drivers need to do. Manufacturers are constantly tweaking designs based on this real-world feedback, making them lighter, more adjustable, stronger. The fact that we're seeing drivers wanting to use them in these pilots, that's a really good sign that these practical issues are being addressed effectively. When it works well and genuinely helps, drivers are on board. That really brings it all together. They're working through the practicalities, which reinforces that core idea. This is about helping humans, not replacing them. It feels like a really important shift.
It really is. And it's so important to keep stressing that these are tools. That's all they are. They aren't robots. They're not autonomous. There's no AI making independent decisions here. The driver is 100% in control, making every call, using all their skill, their experience, their judgment. That never changes. The exoskeleton is just there to support, to take away some of the purely physical strain. It creates this true partnership, doesn't it? The machine handles the heavy lifting, literally, and the human provides the brain, the skill, the intuition, the heart. The ultimate goal is protecting the industry's most valuable asset, that skilled professional driver. And if you zoom out, this is such a great model for how technology can work, elevating human capabilities, making work safer and better instead of diminishing the human role. Yeah, augmenting people, not replacing them. That really resonates. What do you think this means for the future of jobs like trucking? Especially thinking about keeping experienced drivers and maybe attracting new ones.
Oh, it could be transformative. Trucking has struggled for years with driver shortages, right? And the workforce is getting older. This technology offers a way for those really experienced drivers, the ones with decades of knowledge, to potentially stay in the job longer, maybe years longer, without the physical breakdown that used to force them out. Think about the expertise that stays in the industry. That's invaluable.
Keeping that experience on the road.
Exactly. And then for, younger people thinking about trucking as a career, seeing that companies are investing in tech to make it physically safer, more sustainable, that could make it a much more attractive option. It changes the narrative from this job will break you down to this job supports your well-being. That could attract a whole new generation, a more diverse group of people into the profession. So it's not just about individual health, it's about the long-term health and vitality of the entire trucking industry.
So wrapping this up, we've really seen how these exoskeletons are more than just a cool idea. They're actively changing a historically tough profession, making it safer, healthier, more sustainable, directly impacting drivers' lives for the better, less injury, less fatigue, more satisfaction, and making the whole industry more efficient. It's not sci-fi anymore. It's happening now. So as these programs expand and the tech gets even better, here's something to think about. Where else could this idea of a human-machine partnership change the game for physically demanding work? Beyond trucking, what could that mean for how long people can stay in those jobs and for our overall productivity as a society? Lots to consider there. We look forward to digging deeper with you next time on The Deep Dive.